Hi guys, I've been asked to talk to you today about trail food. So I've devised over the last few years of doing through hikes and challenge events, I've devised a few ways of taking food that is lightweight in my pack, that is nutritious and healthy, and also that's squidgeable, so it doesn't matter what I do with it in my pack and how much I push in there. It's also cheap. You can buy food packs, camping food packs from places like Go Outdoors, Cotswold Outdoors, etc. But they tend to be quite expensive. They tend to be a little bit heavier because they're not fully dehydrated, and they can take quite a while to rehydrate. So I've seen them taking up to about, say that they need up to about 15 minutes in boiling water to rehydrate, whereas what I do takes about 5 minutes. So it's much quicker. So if you're doing a timed event, for example, it means you can get back out on the trail quicker, or if it's cold and wet and you just want to get moving again. So if you're up in the Atlas Mountains or whatever and you don't want to stop for more than 5 minutes, then you can do that. So rehydrating food is one of the methods I use. So I just need a little bit of kit. I need something my trusty Jetboil, or other brands are available, to boil water. I need a Tupperware to put my food in, so I'll empty my dried food pack in my Tupperware. That's got contents I'll talk about later. And then I'll put that Tupperware into this is just an old envelope, bubble wrap envelope, especially on a cold day, just while it's rehydrating, just to keep the warmth in. Got that tip from another Adventure Queen. That was a brilliant tip, love that one. And then my little spork. So I love my little spork. So those are the pieces of kit I need. I only ever boil water in my Jetboil. I don't ever put the food in the Jetboil as such, because then I don't need to wash it up. I just need to dry it. Camp washing up, I don't believe in housework if I can get away with it. Certainly not when I'm out on the trail. And so that's rehydrating packs. And the other method I use for trail food is actually making ahead little bite-size food. So this would be particularly good if you're out on a run and you want one-handed food that you can eat while you're actually moving, or if you're bike packing again while you're actually moving, one-handed food. So here's an example of a sweet snack. So this is what's in that tub. These are cashew cookie bites. So think Naked bars. Naked has a cashew cookie bite. Well, these are cashew cookies with no plastic waste, no plastic packaging. And this is another sweet one. Here's one I burnt earlier. I cooked it a little bit too long. I got a bit sidetracked. These are oat and blueberry and banana, very ripe banana bites that were baked in the oven. The cashew cookie aren't baked. And I've got a number of different recipes I've developed or stolen or devised myself for both the dried rehydrated stuff and for those bite-size recipes. So a food pack for rehydrating will look like that. So these bags have been used and reused and reused. So in there you've got couscous, for example, and a load of herbs and spices. So the recipes I devise for the rehydration food packs are based on a protein and carb ingredient. So a whole grain or a bean or pulse flour. You can't use the bean or pulse in its entire form because it just wouldn't rehydrate in 5 minutes. So I'll use it in a flour form. So for example, I might use porridge oats. So that's little pound per kilo bag, or nowadays I get them from Zero Waste store. Whole wheat couscous, that was bought during lockdown, so it's in plastic unfortunately. I'll generally get that from Zero Waste. Then this comes from Tesco. This is chickpea and yellow pea flour, so gram flour. Then I've got soya flour that I haven't found Zero Waste, so I buy that from Holland and Barrett. And quinoa flakes. Quinoa in its entire form won't rehydrate quickly enough, so I've quinoa flakes, and you can use millet flakes as well. So those are some examples of the carbs on the base of my ingredients. Oh yes, and rice vermicelli noodles, I can get those from Tesco as well. So they're fine enough that they'll rehydrate in 5 minutes. So that will give me protein for my body's repair and maintenance, and also carbs for fuel. And then, so that's 2 of the macronutrients covered. And then for fat, I'll add nuts and seeds. So, because you've got nutrients that are need fat to absorb. So you've got vitamin A, so beta carotene, D, E, and K. You need a bit of fat to help absorb them from your diet, and also turmeric. You need, which is such an amazing food. So you need a bit of fat to help absorb turmeric. Then to that, I'll add different layers of flavouring. So I might add dried vegetables or dried fruit, or a mix of the two. So examples of dried vegetables I might add. Tesco, I've seen a couple of lines of dried mushrooms in Tesco. So I'll show you what they look like. So they come whole, so whole mushroom like that. And I'll chop that up. Or beat it with a rolling pin. Put it in a bag and beat it with a rolling pin if I'm feeling aggressive. Chop that up and put that in. I might put in dried tomatoes. Now these, let's show you the pot. This came from Morrison's. I was very pleased with that find. Unfortunately, plastic packaging, but I have now found it in a zero waste store. Ignore the contents. Contents are different, so I reused packet. But sun-dried tomatoes that were not in oil. They were just dry in this packet, so lightweight and no ickiness from oil in your rucksack. So I now get dried tomatoes from zero waste store, so they've been dehydrated in dehydrator. So I'll chop those up, put them in, and the contents of that Morrison's pot, that is dehydrated vegetables from a zero waste store. So parsnip, beetroot, there's carrot, there's also sweet potato in there, so I can chop those up as well. So I always chop everything up fine, just so that it's got the greatest surface area for absorbing water and rehydrating. Then once I've decided what vegetables I want to put in, or maybe some dried fruits, or maybe some sultanas, so if I'm doing a curry mix, for example, I might add some sultanas in there just for an extra layer of flavour, a bit of sweetness, or I might add some dates into my porridge or something like that. So once I've added my dried vegetables, I'll add herbs and spices, and I'll theme things. So I might do an Italian theme with tomato and mushroom, and I'll put in basil, thyme, oregano, I'll put in onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, and some nutritional yeast for a bit of creaminess and a bit of cheesiness as well. So that might be an Italian theme. And I might do that with a vermicelli rice noodle, so it's sort of a pseudo spaghetti type meal. I might do a curry base, so I'll put my turmeric in, I'll put some garam masala in, I'll put a little bit of chili powder in, again black pepper and the turmeric, because they're so good, and you need black pepper to aid the absorption of the goodness from the turmeric. And maybe some ground coriander as well for a curry. And if I particularly wanted extra fat in there, if I'm doing long days and I want some, maybe on a cold season or up in the mountains, then I might add a little bit of a desiccated coconut in there as well. But that's quite high in saturated fat, so I tend not to add coconut to stuff. But I might just decide just to put some in, because I've still got a stack from in the cupboard that I bought before I realised how high in saturated fat it is. Or I might do a Chinese theme, so using I might dry out some lemon balm from my garden. So instead of lemongrass, because lemon balm, you can grow it in this country, it's not that cheaper than buying it from Tesco. So lemon balm, maybe some Chinese 5 spice, or some fennel for aniseed, again dried from my garden. I might do a Moroccan theme, so I might use cumin, dried coriander, parsley leaf, a bit of cinnamon, that sort of thing for a Moroccan theme, or just whatever mixed herbs I want to put in. And often a little bit of spice for heat and a bit of black pepper, and just play with it. Play with whatever theme you want, whatever flavour you want. For a sweet one, so for example, for breakfast, I'll do porridge oats, and I might add some dried goji berries or whatever dried berries I got hold of. These are from Tesco as well. Chewy banana chips. Apologies, everything's written backwards because that's how the video works. I might add some dried. This is from Zero Waste, or some dried apple, which is a bit like marshmallow. Just chop that up. Or again, raisin sultanas. You could put some crystallized ginger in there. That's very sugary, so I wouldn't. But you play with it. Put whatever flavors you want in there. Or I might make my own muesli. So you can put some rice flakes, some quinoa flakes, some millet flakes, porridge oats. Any of your favourite cereals you could put in. So you could put in some bran flakes, some cornflakes, whatever. And actually, you could have those hot if it's a cold trip you're doing. So they'll just go into a nice stodgy mush. It's like nice mouthfeel, real sort of hearty breakfast. And just put it all in a pressed seal bag. So like this one, this is my couscous. And those, they squish up. You can store them in your just all sort of rolled up in a Tupperware in your bag, or just take a dry bag and just stuff it full. Then for snacks, I'll have nuts, I'll have dried fruit, or I might have my cashew cookie bites. So those are raw, no bake, so nice and quick and easy. Or there are snacks that I pre-make for shorter events. So I've got here's some I burned earlier. I cooked them for a bit longer, I got distracted. But these are porridge oats, banana and blueberry. That's the dark colour in there, is the frozen blueberries that I defrosted with some ripe bananas that I got frozen in the frozen as well. And just mixed in with oats and just baked them in the oven. And I'll make things like, another recipe would be oats and sweet potato and a bit of ripe banana as well. That actually came as a recipe for dog biscuits. And I thought, well, that sounds great. Oh, this old bitch will have them. So I was very happy with them. They were very tasty. I might make a bean burger recipe that I got from this recipe book, and that's not how to avoid dying, it's how ways you don't want to die. So there's a nice bean burger recipe in here, or there is he's got a fudgy no-bake brownie recipe in there. It's just amazing. So cocoa powder, and what's another one? Yeah, he does other sort of cookie bites that might be oat-based, might be nut-based, depending on whether you want a fattier thing for a longer, colder trip, or you want to stick to lower fat and more carb-based. So another savoury snack I might make ahead is it'll be this sort of size. It will be baked in the oven, and it might be an Italian sort of oaty pizza bake. So that would be a load of oats, it would be a load of Italian herbs, a bit of chilli, bit of garlic, bit of garlic powder, onion powder, and a bit of nutritional yeast for cheesiness. But you don't have to put that in if you haven't got it. Or I'll make a lentil bite, which will be red lentils cooked down to a nice mush, and then a load of herbs and spices in there. So I'll maybe cook them with a little bit of lemon juice. I'll put in a bit of ginger powder, some dried basil, some dried parsley, some dried thyme, some chili powder, some onion powder, maybe some miso paste, or some Marmite. That makes it nice and sticky. Some tomato puree or passata in the cooking as well, some black pepper. So just mix it up, and then make sure I absorb all the water in the cooking, and then again spoon it out into this sort of size and chuck it in the oven and bake it. And those actually I took them on a kids camp that was about a week long, and they lasted a good 5 days in my hot tent in a hot camp. So I was quite impressed with that. I mean, by the end of about 5 days, they were getting a little bit beyond freshness. And I thought, I need to finish them today. I'll make little squares I might put cinnamon. So in these sort of size bites, so my fruit and nut bites, so like, think Naked bars. I might put a bit of cinnamon in there to add an extra layer to it, or vanilla powder or vanilla essence. But I tend to try to keep things quite dry. Another recipe might be cornbread, which is gram flour with sweet corn, a bit of ground flaxseed, and you spoon that out again into these little bite sizes and bake that in the oven. A recipe I haven't tried yet is a recipe that was for sticky date loaf, and I'll do that. I might try that into these little bites, and that uses pitted dates, apple puree, self-raising flour, bit of bicarb soda, and whatever spices you want, so things like ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, whatever suits your fancy, bit of vanilla extract. So I just play in the kitchen. Baking normally about 25 to 30 minutes, sort of about 180 to 230 degrees, somewhere like that. I will put these bite-sized bits direct on. You can see they've got the grill lines. I won't put them on a baking tray. I'll put them on the bit of a grill pan, or directly onto the oven shelf. I'll put them on greaseproof paper and then put that onto the grill, the oven shelf or the grill of the grill pan, so that they get heat from the bottom and the top. And so they don't get a soggy bottom, because if you put them on a baking tray, they tend to get a soggy bottom, and nobody likes a soggy bottom, and you have to turn them over, and you rip the paper, or they fall apart as you're turning them. So I found that putting them direct onto the grill rather than onto a tray works much better and cooks quicker as well. And then they can be stored. I mean, these have come out of the freezer. They're going to go back in the freezer in a few minutes, and they'll store for months in the freezer, and I'll just take them out a few for however many I want for the day I'm going, or for a week. If I'm going for a longer trip though, things with dates, so the raw stuff, the stuff that hasn't been baked, I will interweave it with some greaseproof paper, otherwise it will stick into one gooey mess, which means you just sort of eat a whole lot all in one go, but it means you run out. So I'll interleave that. So it's all lightweight. It's, as far as possible, zero waste. So you're not creating rubbish en route. It's squashable. It's cheap. You only need to source water, and most places you can do that. Maybe you need water purification to think of that, but again, it's just water you need, and a bit of gas to heat it up on your stove. I've got recipes I can share. What I'll probably do is I'll take some, I'm planning to do a bit more cooking today, so I'll put some photos on the photos up for you to see examples of what I've made in the past, and maybe some from today if I don't burn them, if I don't forget they're in the oven, so you can see the sort of things that I do. So I hope that's given you some ideas. Thank you.